Hi, I'm Malcolm Graham Wood, and I'm here at Core London for my regular CEO interview slot. Today my guest is Helge Hammer, the CEO of Longboat Energy. Welcome, Helge. Great to see you again.
Thank you, Malky.
We haven't
Pleasure
seen
to be here.
Yeah, it's a pleasure to see you. We go back a long way.
Indeed.
Since Pharaoh days, and there's a lot been going on.
Yes.
Let's start off by telling people who don't know too much about Longboat. A bit of background.
Yep.
And where you've come from and what you're doing.
Sure. Yeah, Longboat Energy, we've been around for a couple of years now. After Pharaoh was taken out by DNO back in 2019 for $900 million, we started again. It's an exciting time actually to be starting again, and we have a very strong team. A lot of the ex-Pharaoh players, and we also recruited some excellent people. So.
Great news. Now, you've already put together a portfolio of assets, and no portfolio of assets always works all the time. So should we get the recent dry hole out of the way? That Kambatsela, which you reported recently, wasn't a success.
That's right. That was a disappointment to everyone. You know, there were high expectations for that well. But you know, you look at what we've done so far. We drilled 6 wells. We made 3 discoveries. So you know, you have to expect that not every well come in. We have three really key wells ahead of us. So,
yeah. So let's do knock them off all one at a time, because the successes you've had have been very good. And I would have thought 3 successes, with certainly the size of them, out of 6 beats industry average. Depending on obviously where you have chances of success and so on. But why don't we run through each of the 3 successes? We've got Kveka, we've got Egyptian Vulture, and Rodetta.
That's right.
Tell me about my pronunciations. Yeah. Why don't we just look at them each individually? We'd love to know, you know, how they came in, what sort of size they are, the infrastructure, and where you plan to take them. I happen to notice that you've got in your most recent thing on the website that you're planning an appraisal Egyptian Vulture at the beginning of next year. But why don't we run through them individually?
Yeah, we do that. So the last discovery is the Kveka. Difficult pronunciation. It's a discovery which is it's a very good discovery in the sense that it pinned down everything. You know, it's good reservoir, good oil, good location. So that one probably don't need much appraisal. It has, I mean, it's around 40 million barrels. Nice size, and with quite a lot of upside and potential for it to grow bigger. It's also sitting in an area where there have been several discoveries lately by Equinor. So Equinor is the big player in Norway. Used to be Statoil. Is working on an area development with quite a lot of synergy there. So Kveka could become part of that.
That's rock and roll.
Yeah, exactly. And there's rock and roll. Those were the deeper targets. So you had the Kveka, where the shallow target. That's an injectite. As an injectite, known for being a very good reservoir. Also known for growing in reserve, like the Catcher field in the UK. And then the rock and roll of the deeper targets, which also came in. So all the targets were oil bearing in that well. The volume potential in those lower is not properly understood yet.
Yeah.
So that kind of is a further upside that needs to be we worked on actually.
Mm-hmm. Next one, Egyptian Vulture.
And then Egyptian Vulture was a discovery from end of last year. That's exciting because it's potentially very large. It's again a 40-50 million barrel discovery as it's announced. So 6 million net to us. That one covers a huge area, something like 80 square kilometers, which means that it needs to be appraised. You can't, and that also means that commercialization, monetization, which are like key to our strategy. needs to wait for that appraisal to happen. And we hope to drill that appraisal next year. Decision hasn't been made yet. We work in these partnerships. Equinor is the operator. I know that can be frustrating, but you know, it's also a strength to have a strong operator.
Yeah, yeah. Rodetta?
And then Red Hat is the last one. That came in on the small side.
Yeah.
And that's way up north. It's in an area where you have a field called Goliath. That's not operated by Equinor, that's Vår Energi. Vår Energi is a new listed company on the Oslo Stock Exchange.
Right.
They were owned by ENI. It's the formerly ENI joined with a high-tech private equity company.
I remember,
And then listed a big IPO. And in their IPO materials, they explained that they were going to invest in more infrastructure around Goliath. So and there are also a few more exploration wells coming. Just read. So which is Vår Energi wells. So all of that is very likely to end up being a area cluster type of new gas infrastructure in that area.
Before we go on to the next one, it's noticeable that you're starting to get in with a number of different partnerships. Obviously, we all thought it would be Equinor all the way, but as you say, it's not. And now you've got these guys.
Yeah.
So you're sort of working with the different people in different ones.
Yes, we do, and we work with big companies in Norway, and which is good because, you know, very core to our strategy is to once we have a discovery, is to then deliver value and production. With Faroe, we did a few of those swaps of discoveries for production.
Yeah.
We love to do that again. It needs to be a little bit of patience, but interesting thing with both Kveikje and Red Hat and Egyptian Vulture is they are in areas where you have a lot of players and you have big companies owning infrastructure. So the potential is there to do good deals on all of those.
Yeah, I'd like to take that a bit further before we go on to the wells, because this is something I was going to ask about later on. You've always said that, as it was at Faroe, you'd trade the assets which you just mentioned. But also, I guess that people want to know whether you would like to become a sort of a rounded, all-round energy company without just being exploration and so on. And because these will take you a little while to get to production, whether you wouldn't, maybe like a little bit of production, either buying it directly or trading it with something that you've had here. Is that the plan?
Definitely. So the strategy is to become a full cycle E&P company, be involved in exploration and production. We've started with exploration because that's where we could find deals and deals with big upside, and energy prices and commodity prices the way they are at the moment makes it challenging to buy production for cash. But having these discoveries are kind of key for us to and use that as leverage and get into production now. I mean, I'm confident we will do that.
Yeah, so we shouldn't be surprised.
It's just a question of time. So we shouldn't. I mean, investors shouldn't believe we are an exploration company. We are on the route to become an E&P company.
Yeah, and so investors shouldn't be surprised to see something coming up at some stage that would work. Now, I'd like to go into some detail with the drilling program that you've got at the moment.
Yeah.
Two of which Oswig and Copernicus, came as a result of an asset purchase, and then you've got Velocet as well. So
Yes.
Oswig must be quite imminent. So should we go through those in a bit of detail?
Yeah. No, it's exciting. I mean, we have focused on big gas discoveries. We believe big gas prospects. Because gas is you see the gas prices the way they are, and Norway plays a key role with its infrastructure.
Yeah.
So if you find gas close to infrastructure in Norway, that's say a top asset to hold.
Yeah.
And we have managed to find 3 prospects. They're all big size. Osvig is almost 100 million BOE. We have 20% of it. The well is spudding in July, expected to spud later in July, middle of July.
With whom?
With OMV as the operator. So that's another strong partnership we have, and very good relationship with OMV actually.
Yeah.
And that well is drilled just next to the Oseberg field, which is a huge facility and has both gas and oil export lines. So you're right in the middle of the Norwegian infrastructure. So if that one comes in, it's prime acreage and you know, would be brilliant for us.
And that's got a 36% chance of success.
That's right. According to the operator. This case, we haven't done any CPR yet, but we're using quoting the operators. Yeah. So that's a good chance of success.
Spudding in July. To a long well or a short well?
Probably it's like a couple of months, that one. Yeah. It is a relatively deep target.
Yeah.
But this is like more conventional target than the Cambozola that we drilled, which was a play opener. Would have been fantastic if it come in, of course. But that's the way it is. It tested some new interpretation of the Cretaceous. This is Jurassic, more classic Jurassic fault block.
Next up, Copernicus.
And then 2-3 months away from now, we will be spudding Copernicus, and Copernicus is further north. It's a huge seismic anomaly, and with big volume potential. As you know, it's like I think over 250 million BOE gross target. That one we have 10% of. Operator in that case is Pignig, which is unknown to many, but that's the Polish oil company. They're quite a big player in Norway. They've built up. They've done a lot of acquisitions, and have kind of known things about the gas market that the rest of us didn't see come.
Very smart guys.
Yeah, exactly. So they are now, and there's a new Baltic. It's a bit of a side issue, but there's a Baltic gas pipeline that is opening imminently, which can provide something like 50%, I read, of Polish gas volumes. So Norway playing an important role, and the Pignig is a good company to work with. So,
that's good. Yeah. And it's not one we know that well, and of course, but we know that the Polish are, they know their way around gas certainly. And,
indeed.
So that that would be encouraging. Smaller chance of success there, but
yes,
given it's such a huge
25% that one. Yeah.
So, but it's a potentially huge target. So as you say. Then Veloceta.
Velocet. Yeah. And that's another one that we acquired from OMV, and that's again a higher chance of success again, and in a very large license which has multiple targets. So if this one comes in, that also has a huge follow-up potential. So that's again also relatively high chance of success. So one of these three last ones work, I mean, that would be wonderful for Longboat.
So in terms of the full cycle company that you're talking about, you've got three. I'll come on in a minute to what you're going to get next and so on. But you've got three discoveries, which you're progressing with each of the operators and so on. You've got three individually very interesting wells drilling, 2 in the second half of this year and 1 at beginning of next year and so on. So that gives you quite a... What I'm trying to find out is how big Longboat could become. Could you say, right, we could be doing, if these can come in, we could have 4 or 5 discoveries, and we'd like to have another 4 or 5. So, so first of all, next year, what I'm trying to find out is how big you could become.
Yeah.
And what's next? So, we've got one straight up exploration well drilling next year, but presumably you'd like to do 4 or 5. So, which aren't in the books yet, aren't in the portfolio yet.
No.
But you must be talking to people all the time and so on. So.
No, definitely. We continue to work on our growth plans. Definitely, there's the plan is not to stop here. I mean,
Yeah.
as we did with Faro, we intend to grow it big, and we intend to grow an attractive portfolio.
Yeah.
That's what it's all about.
Yeah.
And not with the minimum use of equity capital we can. So we have the funding for these wells we're drilling now. And you know, if one of them come in, they are trading chips. They could be swapped, and then we continue also to be active in the M&A market.
That's next, yeah. So we've got the licensing round, the APA, and the M&A market. So let's talk about the licensing round. How often does that come up? It's coming up imminently.
There's coming up one in Norway this year. It's been just been announced. So we have identified some targets there. So we're not. I think compared to say 10 years ago, we are more picky. You know, it's more about being in the right prospect. It's not as kind of active and big as it was 10 years ago. But it's still some really good targets.
There were some decent things. And do you go in? Are you in sort of consortia with Picnic or OMV or Equinor or whatever, or do you go in on your own, or how do you assess the next round?
That's quite a kind of a complicated kind of dancing that is going on at the moment. You know, we're trying to find your partners there. But we are active part of that whole process. So what's happening now in June and July is that companies, there's a lot of meetings going on, a lot of presenting ideas to each other, and then getting kind of logical partnerships together.
But just like the fact that you would like to be in with any of these operators, they would presumably like you to be in there with 10 or 20 or 25%. Your experience, you know your way around. You made Faro into a highly successful business, so you know for them you must be a very good partner to have. Definitely, and we see that. I think that surprisingly that very big companies they still value good ideas, good competence, you know, and a small nimble player that it has the focus. Yeah. So we've done that round. When will we know about that round? End of the year, do you think? Or?
Yeah, that's normally a January award. Yeah.
And then more M&A work, depending on trading assets or just buying the odd piece of exploration acreage here and there.
Yeah, I think we continue to look also very actively at acquiring kind of production and reserve, but what we don't want to. I mean, this is unprecedented times in terms of commodity prices and what have you, and the consolidation has continued in both in the UK and in Norway. I mean, there are fewer and fewer players around, so we are in a more and more unique position. The huge kind of uncertainty in prices going forward and so forth makes it hard, but we continue to be active. I mean, we continue to consider our discoveries as kind of key trading chip, and we could add some cash in if needed.
Good. So tax, Norwegian tax has occupied people for some time. A year or two ago, people were a little concerned at the way it was going. Everything I've seen from you recently has said that you're confident that you're up with events. What are the new tax rules? How are they settling in?
They have just been approved, so the new tax is now effective. The change is positive. So just very quickly, for years we've had this exploration tax refund. 78%, and it's been huge. It's been fantastic for a lot of companies. So Norway has been a top place for exploration. What's happening now is that tax refund is extended from not being only exploration but being all losses in the offshore.
Right.
So it means that you will get your tax refund, but they have reduced from 78 to 72%. But it's still a very favorable system. For us, the main difference is that previously, if we made a discovery, we were really under pressure to either sell it or swap it, because to fund your way through through development was very needed, and kind of raised an enormous amount of equity for that, because there's so little debt capacity in new development projects.
Yeah.
But so that's what is changing. So it gives us an extra option in terms of how we take forward. So our preference is still to sell and swap these discoveries, because it's quicker. But we do have the option to sit through them longer.
Yeah, I mean, but we all know that the ultimate good thing to do would be to do some trading.
Yeah.
And that's going to be the case. And presumably, given that you've got so much with all these different groups of people in Norway, you're not planning to go anywhere except Norway for the time being. And presumably the UK, the new tax there hasn't helped, but I know you've always said you might.
Yeah.
At the moment, you must be busy in Norway only.
Well, yeah, we are busy in Norway, but we have I mean, the ambition was always to be wider than just Norway. So we are actually looking a bit wider than just Norway.
Yeah.
So Norway is a really good place to be, and it plays a big role in Europe, Northern Europe energy. And gas and oil, and it's a stable regime, and even this tax change that happened in Norway now is really a marginal change compared to the UK. We just have a tax rise, but so we really like Norway, and we like to stay in Norway, and we will continue.
A major part for the time. Yeah.
But I think that we are also looking at opportunities in other geographies.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Finally, well, not finally, but a quick word on finances. You've got a strong balance sheet. Everything you've said that you are committed to at the moment is fully funded.
Yeah.
We know you're going to trade assets, and you said that you could put a bit of cash into a deal if you needed to. You're happy with the balance sheet, the finance? John, looking
yeah,
up.
I'm happy with the balance sheet, and kind of the cash position is good, and we have the debt facility is in place, the EFF facility. So we are funded for what we have committed. So that's fine. We're not happy with the share price, obviously, which makes it challenging to go and raise more money. But when we have to grow the business, so if we find a compelling opportunity, then
yeah. I mean, I have to say that I think you're in with a basket of really good quality companies where the market has just not appreciated the value of that business yet, and I think that that Longboat would be significantly higher if those. I think that from a sort of equity market point of view is that what worries me is that the oil shares all ran up sharply when the oil price ran up last year and this year and so on, and then people think, because it's gone up, it'll now come down a bit. And actually, oil shares have underperformed a bit recently, including your own. And I think that when the market realises that high oil prices are here to stay, and that we've got a significant underinvestment in the sector for previous years.
Exactly.
What you're doing is investing in something which is going to be needed for the long term. So I tend to agree with you on that. You've got a good list of shareholders. Just wanted to touch base with them. You've got what I would call a blue chip list of shareholders. Quite a lot of whom worked with you before. And they've been happy to start with you all.
They understand the game we're in, and they understand that this takes some time, and so now we do have that. We had those shareholders with us in Faroe as well for a long time. And with Faroe we also had the ups and the downs in the share price, but we kept building. We kept building, and we kept doing the right things, which is what we do with Longboat as well. I think we have to be focused on building an attractive portfolio. I mean, that's what it's all about.
And this is a good time because we're getting sort of low on time. So what I always ask people to do at the end of the discussion is just to say where would you like to see Longboat in 12 to 18 months' time? We've been through everything.
Yeah.
So nothing will come as a surprise, I think. But what's your vision for Longboat?
I think it's. I mean, we would then have drilled three wells. I mean, my wish would be that at least one of those come in. So that should really fix a lot for us. And I think that the other thing shareholders and we also would like to do is to have done a deal on on one of the discoveries we have. So that then we would have in a year from now a bit of production from that, maybe development and another discovery in our hands, and maybe picked up a few more licenses.
Yeah.
So then I would say we would be on a good route to growth.
Excellent. Well, it sounds like Longboat is in good hands, and you've got exciting thoughts in front of you. So thank you very much for joining me today.
Thank you. Thanks for that.
So I've been Malcolm Graham Wood here at Core TV on my CEO interview slot. My guest has been Helge Hammer, the CEO of Longboat Energy. Thank you very much again, Helge, for coming over from Norway to talk to us, and wish you a lot of success in the future. Thank you very much indeed.
Thank you. Thanks.
Thank you very much, and goodbye.